Welcome, everyone. We're just going to give about a minute for people to log in and join our webinar. So we'll just get started shortly once everyone has logged in. Okay, we'll get started now. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the Know Before You Go webinar for the NUN Portugal site, and we're just going to jump right in and get started. So in this webinar, you're going to find introductions from all of us. We'll have an overview of NUN Portugal. We'll get into the academics. We're going to help you prepare for your semester abroad. We'll talk about health and safety a little bit. We'll look ahead and figure out what you need to get ready for your semester abroad. And then we'll have a little bit of a question and answer at the end. So if you have any questions in the middle of the presentation, there is a chat that lets you ask any questions. Be ready to respond to your questions in the chat as well. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jean Kilkiri. I am the program supervisor for NUN Portugal. This is actually my fourth year working with NUN. Previously, I used to work for NUN Spain in the Madrid site, and this is my first year working with NUN Portugal. I'm very excited to be in Lisbon. I've been to Lisbon many times, and I'm excited to be living there for this semester and helping your students in their freshman year. I'll let my colleague Christian introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christian Contessa. My pronouns are he, him. I am the Student Success Manager for Portugal. Last year, I was in Portugal as a Student Success Coordinator, so this will be my second time on site. And I'm so excited to be back in Lisbon, and I'm so excited to be able to help your student have an amazing time with us this semester.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leonor Pinto. I'm a program coordinator for CIU Lisbon. This is my third year working the NUN Portugal program. In the slide, you can also see some other people at the CIU Lisbon Center, some faces that will become very familiar to you, like Joana Almeida, our Center Director, Sara Cunha, our Operations Manager, Rodrigo Diaz, our Academic Manager, and also Maria Cantairo, our Program Assistant.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Shannon. I work as the Associate Director of the NUN Portugal program. You've probably received many emails from me throughout the summer through the NUN inbox, giving you reminders about NUN Portugal, visa surveys, all those sort of things. I play more of a behind-the-scenes sort of role with our program. For any parents and families attending the webinar today, I'm the main point of contact for parents and families throughout the duration of the fall semester. Parents and families can expect to receive a welcome email from myself, which will include my email and phone number. And so you have an idea of who to contact during the fall semester while your student is on the ground. So again, that email will come out right at the beginning of the semester. And I'll pass the mic over to Dylan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dylan Maurer, and I'm an Associate Director in the Office of Global Student Success, which means I work to support the NUN program in partnership with Christian from the Student Life Office in Boston. Great to have you here today.
We also have on site some student success coordinators. There will be 4 student success coordinators that'll be directly working with your students, and they will be in sort of family groups. Each student success coordinator will have what we call a family group of about 20 to 21 students, because Portugal is a nice small site. We only have about 81, 82 students this semester. So your students will be directly overseen by the student success coordinators who are pictured here. Now we're going to get into a little bit of an overview about what will be happening in NUN Portugal.
So CIE has a leader in international study abroad programs and exchange programs for over 75 years. CIE Lisbon itself was founded in 2007, and it's been in the same, and we are located in the Universidade Nova of Lisbon in the Social Sciences and Humanity campus. As for where you're going to be located, so our campus is in Campo Pequeno. It's literally a hub in the business center of Lisbon. It's also very close to campus, and it's very abundant in transportation. You have buses, metro, trains, everything that you can take transportation means to go everywhere that Lisbon has to offer. You can go to the beach, lots of historic sites. And so it's a lovely city that I can wait for all of you students to know. Some rules and etiquette in Portugal. So one thing that when you arrive that you, or when you, most likely when you're in the streets or in public transportation, you might find that people might stare at you. Don't take it the wrong way. It's just sometimes we kind of blank. So in the subway, someone might be staring at you, but they're just looking into the void and thinking, did I did my laundry? Or I need to do this when I get home. Another issue is that in Portugal, things are smaller, so our streets are smaller. You'll see that everything is smaller, and sometimes we do not have the concept of personal space as you have in the US because it's bigger. So it's not uncommon for when you're walking in the street because the sidewalks are smaller, like to bump shoulders with someone. It's fine, it happens. You just say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then you keep on moving. Also, etiquette, regardless, in some places, hats and hoodies inside are not really appropriate, or sometimes a little bit more by older people, a little bit frowned upon. In class, typically in Portugal, we do not eat or drink, with the exception of water. If you're riding public transportation, just know that there are some seats that are demarcated for elderly people, people that have trouble walking, or mothers carrying children under 2. And again, in public spaces, also be aware of your surroundings, where you're going, and to just be aware of your surroundings.
Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about housing. I'm a little bit biased, but I think Lisbon has one of the better housing options out of all the sites. So every single student will have their own studio bedroom that will be furnished with a bed, a desk, chair, shelf, wardrobe, and mirror. The background of this picture is actually a picture of an actual apartment that the students will be residing in. Each of them will then have their own private bathroom with a standing shower. Along with that, they will have a basic kitchenette with kitchen supplies that will be provided by CAEE, such as like a knife, cutting board, fork, knife, anything that the student will need immediately upon arrival. If you are interested in learning how to cook or are already a great chef, there are also a lot of supermarkets and shopping centers around where you can get the essentials that you need. Last year, a lot of students kind of went ham when it went to buying kitchen supplies, and they really enjoyed their time there. Aside from that, you'll also have a weekly cleaning and also a bi-weekly linen changing. So we'll have staff come in and just do a general cleaning of the space. Something to note though is that the cleaning staff is there just to clean, not to organize. So if the cleaning staff is unable to enter the room due to the fact that there is clothing or litter on the floor or clothing and stuff on the bed, they will not be able to clean it just due to security reasons and things of that nature. So something that's to be aware of, and that schedule will also be provided to you once you arrive to Lisbon, so you're very much aware of the dates that your room will be cleaned. Aside from that, it is a lovely 15-minute walk from the CIU Lisbon campus. Something that you will learn to appreciate while you're in Lisbon is flat land. Lisbon is an incredibly hilly city, so it's really nice that the neighborhood that we have here. It's a straight shot, a beautiful walk over, and not that far away from campus. Aside from that, kind of to echo what Leonor was talking about, due to the fact that it's kind of the center of the business hub, there is a lot of options for you to kind of explore and to shop. So maybe have restaurants, cafes, as well as public transportation. On the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about the metro system. We can talk a little bit more about your proximity to everywhere else in Lisbon. Also, here are some other general perks about living in Shor Campo Pequeno. You all have a private dining room or a shared common kitchen that is pictured here in the background. Basically, that is up to be reserved by you and the other students. A lot of times, a lot of students last year did kind of like a communal friend dinner, and where everyone would kind of pitch in and buy different ingredients, bring it in, and all cook together, or at least the one person that could cook would cook for everyone else. And aside from that, we also have the laundry room that could be then used on an app basis. So you can refill that app, pay for it, and you also have access to the iron and ironing board on site for those that want to or know how to iron. Aside from that, also there is a cinema room that is open to the public, where you're able to sort of sit down, enjoy some time with your friends, watch a movie in one of the biggest TVs I've honestly ever seen. And aside from that, also you will have access to a 24/7 gym in the basement of Campo Pequeno. And last year, once a week, they did have a personal trainer come in that would be able to give kind of tips and tricks for people that are just trying to get into their fitness journey. So now talking a little bit about the neighborhood, not to parrot a lot of what has been already said, but as you can see, there's a lot of things in between the housing as well as the Nova campus. That big circle in the middle is a big theater or amphitheater, and underneath there is a shopping center that is a really great place for a lot of students to get all their essentials. And aside from that, there's also a lot of really amazing cafes and restaurants all along the way to campus, and where the students can be able to sit down, take quick coffee before they run over to their next class. And then lastly, on my side, we're going to talk a little bit about the public transportation. So Lisbon public transportation is actually very, very nice and very straightforward. Also, in comparison to other European big cities, Lisbon's public transportation is fairly newer, which means that the cabins are a little bit larger. It's a little bit more high tech, a little bit cleaner, and we've had a really amazing time using the metro system last year, and the students really enjoyed the independence that came from it. So we are currently in between the yellow and green line, I would say, is where the short Campo Pequeno is placed. But also, as you go walk closer and closer to campus, you will also then be able to get onto the blue line. Obviously, all of these have different stops. You can have transfers, so there's really no spot in Lisbon that you cannot get to through public transportation. Also, please do not be afraid to use the buses. Lisbon also has a really nice and robust bus system that also can take you anywhere that you need to go. The students will be provided a public transportation card upon arrival that will allow them to use any of these lines, as well as the buses and also the regional trains. The regional trains can take you a fair ways away. It actually can take you all the way up to Cascais, which is a very prominent beach town near Lisbon. So that is all included in the metro card that you will receive upon arrival. So you have full access to everything that the city of Lisbon has to offer. And let me tell you, Lisbon never runs out of things to offer. And then also fun facts. So the people of Lisbon love to say that they are actually older than Rome. If you look back into the history of Lisbon and the people that live there, it does extend back far, far into antiquity. It has still the oldest bookstore, which is Livraria Bertrand, which is made in 1732. And as well, if you look, there's a large bridge that connects kind of the main part of Lisbon to the southern side of the country. When you look at it, it will be kind of similar looking to the Golden Gate Bridge because it was actually built by the same company. So that's something that will always sort of dot the Lisbon skyline, that beautiful, beautiful bridge in the background. Lastly, the Lisbon tram cars that you will see, the yellow little tram cars that are kind of the emblem of Lisbon, or of the little knickknacks you can buy, were used to be called the Americans due to the fact that they were actually exact replicas of the trams that were used and almost are still in use in San Francisco today.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you guys about the programs that we offer. One of the best things that the NUM program offers for students abroad is programming. Okay, we have all of the coordinators. They get to plan 2 programs per month for the students. And programs for the students in the past have been city tours, have been tile painting workshops. I'm not sure if any of you know, but Portugal is famous for these beautiful tiled churches and tiled residences. And so they have an opportunity to paint these wonderful hand-painted tiles in a tile painting workshop. We also offer things like cooking classes. They go on a trip to the to the aquarium, which is the oceanarium. So they put on these amazing, amazing programs every semester. And so we want you and your students to take advantage of all these great programming that the coordinators organize for you because it's all included and you should want to enjoy and learn about Lisbon and Portugal. Here's some beautiful pictures. In this corner, you can see the tile painting workshop where the students were painting. Here was the aquarium they visited, and some beautiful views on some of the day trips and excursions that the students had gone on. Another wonderful thing that we offer for the students is monthly family dinners. So as I mentioned previously, that the students will be in these family groups that we're called with about 20 to 21 students in Lisbon. And every month they will have a family dinner together where we take them around the city to different restaurants and we all have a meal. And this is a time for them to get to know their cohort, to get to talk about classes, talk about events, talk about things that are happening. And it's really a wonderful opportunity for them to relax and enjoy some food together. They also, on top of all of the programming and the family dinners, we also run what are known as traditions programs. And the traditions programs, there are 8 of them. The first one is the first day of school photos, where on the first day of school, we organize pictures, Polaroids will happen, there'll be some breakfast and food. We then have what we call Husky Day, where not only in NUN Portugal, but across all the NUN locations, as well as on the campus in Boston. It's like a Husky Pride Day where we'll have fun activities, food for them to enjoy their Northeastern Pride. We also offer something called Husky Hunt, which is a program, a traditions program where they get to explore the city of Lisbon. It's like a massive scavenger hunt across the whole city where they'll get to go to different areas, to have to take pictures in front of famous monuments or eat different food. And it's a really fun day full of lots of fun activities across the whole city. There's also traditions called postcards, and postcards is what it sounds, where students will write postcards home to either you, their friends, their grandparents, whoever they would like to write a postcard to, and tell you all about the wonderful experiences they're having in this semester. And we send them off to you guys so you can know about all the things they're doing this semester. We also do Halloween and Thanksgiving because the students will be abroad sort of for these American holidays. We want to make sure they have that sense of feeling like they're not missing them while being abroad. So we do have a Halloween party. We'll see what we organize this year, but generally students dress up. There's sort of candy. We also organize Thanksgiving where we have a full Thanksgiving meal. It might not be exactly like your Thanksgiving you would have at home, but we do have the students come together for a lovely Thanksgiving. Also, in something to note that they will be having classes on Thanksgiving Day, as Thanksgiving is not a holiday in Portugal. So it'll be at the evening for dinner. They'd come together and have a nice meal. We also put together late night breakfast, which is during finals week, we organize sort of a de-stress food activity. We'll have some fun activities for them to de-stress from all the studying, some food for them to fuel themselves for more studying, and that'll be sort of during their finals week in December. And the last thing that we do, our last traditions, is a final banquet. And that is where the whole cohort will come together at the end of the semester. We'll share a final dinner together. We'll talk about our experience. We'll have a slideshow of all the great things we've done over the semester. Last time there was a DJ, maybe some dancing. So it's a wonderful chance for all the students to come together one last time before returning to the States for the next semester. Excursions, I think Leonore is going to talk about.
So, during the program, students will have 2-day trips. The first will be to Nazaré and Óbidos. They're very different towns. One is a fishing town, traditionally fishing town, and a really big surf spot for the biggest waves in the world. I'm talking about Nazaré. And Óbidos is a medieval walled city. So you can walk around and explore in one day 2 wonderful Portuguese cities with two different experiences. And the second day trip will be to Sintra, which is a town that has seen throughout history since the Neolithic till nowadays. It has always something, and it's very beautiful, very bright, very green, very peaceful. And besides the day trips, we'll also have an overnight trip to Porto, where you get to experience the second largest city in Portugal. And we'll visit a museum, we'll walk around, also get a city tour to get to know the history and the people of Porto. So academics, this is the core of the NUN Portugal program, besides all the activities. This is a hands-on program, saying that students will use their world as their classroom and apply their learning firsthand. CIE also offers co-curriculars, so professors will take students out into the world. One of the courses that we offer, of course, is Lisbon City and Architecture, where you really go out and explore and see the architecture and not only just talk about it in class. Courses are taught by CIE or follow the US academic culture and US standards, and there will be a US grading scale from A to F. Also, communication styles can be different, and remember, you are in a different country, but the instructors are taught and to teach in a US style. So as for academic culture, like I said, it's not easy to adjust to a new culture. There might be differences in educational systems and teaching style that you are used to, but there's always a very focus on US learning style. Like I said before, all the courses will be graded in the US grade system from A to F. The grade for each assignment will be graded on a scale from 0 to 100, and your final grade will be in the US standard grading. As for assessments, all students will be enrolling for courses. All courses typically have at least 5 different means of assessment throughout the term. For example, some of these include course engagement, project work, presentations, midterm and final presentations and examinations. And just like at Northeastern, students should be prepared to put in 2 hours of preparation for each hour in class.
Okay. Some of the academic accommodations that we need you to do are you need to submit documentation first to Northeastern, and it's through DAS, and then through CIE. And once you submit it, DAS can take a while for it to process. So we ask you to do it now over the summer, so it's already in. And CIE will offer whatever accommodations are approved by Northeastern. They will also offer those accommodations as well. So you should submit it here to custom enrollment at CAE. And it says no later than August 1st, but if you haven't done it yet, please submit it as soon as you can now so that we have time to process it. Okay, the attendance requirements. Students are also required to attend class. This is, the basis of studying is to go to class and make sure that this is an academic program. You also are expected to attend your co-curriculars. Co-curriculars are offered by each class. You will have a certain amount of outside of class hours that you will have to attend. It could be if you're taking an architecture class that you have an outside sort of trip with the class where you will be going to view the architecture in Portugal, things like that. And if you are missing a class, okay, make sure that you notify your instructor of why you're missing the class. Okay, in travel, we want to remind students that travel or travel delays or any problems regarding missed flights or late flights causing you to miss your deadline for a class or miss coming to a class is not an acceptable excuse. You need to be there and attend class. And instructors are also not permitted to reschedule classes, and that you need to make sure you're doing your work, and that they won't be permitted as well to grant makeup work in regards to if you have travel plans issues. Class schedule. Classes are they are shared during orientation. You haven't received your classes yet. So make sure that when you arrive on the day, well, we will give them to you the day you arrive, or I think maybe the Monday you get there, that you will then know your classes. Okay, and they are scheduled Monday through Friday. Okay, you'll have classes every day. So make sure you're there for all of them, and they'll be 2 times per week. And in addition to those classes, you'll have 7 hours of co-curricular activities that go along with those classes outside of them per semester. So just so you're aware of your co-curriculars. All right, what to expect. So once you arrive, we have arrival day as September 14th. We will be there if you are on one of the group flights, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We will be in the airport ready to pick you up with signs, and then we will have on-site orientation in person from the September 15th to the 17th, where we will be doing orientation activities. We'll get you familiarized with the neighborhood, with where the campus is, anything you need to know, your class schedule will all be dealt with in those on-site orientation days. Your first day of classes is Thursday, September 18th. We also have first day of school photos that day. And then we have on that Saturday, September 20th, and our first excursion. Okay, everyone will be going to Obidos and Nazaré that day. So it's a full day trip, and it's going to be lovely. We also know the dates of our other excursions. We have October 11th and 12th, an overnight trip to Porto, as well as a trip to Sintra. So how we work this is that we have you divided into 2 groups. We have about 40 students who'll be going to Porto for the weekend. That is an overnight excursion. While those students are in Porto, the other half of the students will be doing a day trip that day to Sintra. And if they go the first weekend, the 11th to the 12th to Porto, the next weekend we have an excursion, the 25th to 26th, they'd be doing the day trip to Sintra. So they would switch weekends. Okay. We also know that October 8th is Husky Day. So it's across all the NUN sites, including in Northeastern, Husky Day. We have a fall break for the students. So October 30th to November 2nd is their fall break. So make sure that you guys have written that down as a time that students will be free. Maybe if parents want to visit that weekend, it would probably be a good weekend. Or if the students want to travel somewhere, that would be a good weekend to do it as well. Also, Monday, December 1st and Monday, December 8th are public holidays, and there are no classes those days. The last day of class is December 9th. And then between the 10th and the 12th, the students will be having final exams on site. And December 13th is the end of the program. It's departure day. That's a Saturday. So there it is in a nutshell, our little bit of our schedule that we have for you. So you could plan accordingly any trips or any activities that you would like to do. What to pack? Okay, so we want you to think about you only have 2 hands. You are going to be in charge of your own suitcases and luggage. So you have 2 hands and I like to say a back. So, don't overpack. We also want you to make sure you check with your airline for exactly what your baggage allowance is so that you're following those norms. And that just make sure that you reserve essential items for your carry-on. So that would be anything you would need, like electronics, your chargers. We like to say one change of clothes. You never know what happens to your checked bag. Hopefully everyone's checked bag arrives and there's no issues with that. But we would like you to make sure that you have, some clothes in your carry-on just in case. And as well as any prescriptions. If you're taking any medication, make sure that's on you. We don't want it to get separated from you. So just be aware with what you're packing. Also, it's good for you to bring some sort of converters or chargers, but nowadays the wall plug for, say, your iPhone or for your computer, a lot of times you could just buy that simple plug. It's a USB, and you could buy the part that plugs into the wall. We can help you purchase it here in Portugal if you don't have one. Um, Also, if you have a Mac, a lot of times the charger can pop out, the little wall extension you can change it out. So you can just buy just that part to go onto the power bank. Also, just make sure you're packing for all types of weather. Lisbon is going to be beautiful and sunny and warm when you arrive, but by December it's going to be cold and chilly. And it is, a coastal city, so in the evenings it does get chillier than in the daytime. So make sure, we like to say, you have layers. Lisbon is such a cosmopolitan city that if you forget to pack a scarf or an umbrella or something, you can buy it there. There are many, many shops that you can buy a sweater, a scarf, any sort of clothing that you have forgotten and need there. So don't worry about that. Also, we like to say that linens, as Christian mentioned earlier, are provided. So no need to pack any linens. And also the basic kitchenware is also provided. So they'll be getting a couple plates, a couple dishes, some basic pots and pans. So no need to bring any of that. Um, but we do recommend maybe a beach towel, okay, if they want to go to the beach, or they can purchase one while in Lisbon if they forget and you don't want it to carry way down your suitcase.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about phones while abroad. So all students while they're abroad will have to have a working phone number, whether that be through a Portuguese provider or through an American provider with an international plan. This is incredibly important because it allows us as managers and also the coordinators to be able to be in contact with you in case you're out of range of Wi-Fi. I know in Europe, also around the world, WhatsApp is an incredibly useful resource, one that we as well will be using while on site. But due to the fact that you do have to be connected to internet, that is not the most reliable way that we can get into contact with you. Because of that, having a working cell phone number that we can text and call is essential. As well as that, you will be enrolled in a 24-hour emergency response system that basically will let you know in case there's any emergency that requires your immediate attention, whether that be a natural disaster or a protest or civil unrest. It immediately pings you and asks if you're safe, and then it connects you to appropriate resources if not. So again, I cannot stress how heavily enough that a working phone number needs to be necessary. When it comes to deciding between the international plan versus a local SIM card, that is definitely something that is up to you and your loved ones to decide what makes the most sense. I would say that in comparison to the international plans, the Portugal phone plans are very affordable, especially basically from the American perspective, and also are very easy to sort of get into. Something that I use a lot when I travel and live abroad is that I use the eSIM, which is the electronic SIM option. All modern iPhones and modern Androids have this capability. Basically, what that means is that rather than using a physical SIM card, you can just download an eSIM through a QR code, and that will basically act as your connection to the networks that are provided in the country. This is very useful because it also allows you to keep also your American phone number and also allows you to then toggle between the two. So if you have a second factor authorization that requires your American phone number, you don't have to worry about remembering where that SIM card is. You easily just go into your settings, toggle it on and off. And I find that to be incredibly convenient and much more cost effective. If you do decide to do the eSIM or the regular SIM route, you please do ensure that your phone is unlocked. What I mean by that is sometimes when you recently purchase a phone or the phone is still on a payment plan, in order to prevent consumers from just buying the phone, getting the deal, and then moving to another provider, the phones are what is called locked, which means they are only allowed to connect to the network provider of which they were bought. This depends carrier to carrier, so that's something that I would look into before leaving the States. So for example, I'm a Verizon user. After 60 days or so, the phone is automatically unlocked, but I know that AT&T, Sprint, or the other phone providers might have different regulations around that. So it's something that's really important to know beforehand, since if it is locked, once you arrive on site, you will not be able to connect to the Portuguese cell phone towers. The site staff will collect the students' in-country phone numbers. Again, as I said before, this allows us to communicate with you very quickly in case that we need to have any immediate response. And then also something very important to talk about with phones while abroad is setting expectations and creating a contact plan with your loved ones. Things get very hectic the first couple of weeks that we are in Lisbon. There's a lot of orientation, meeting new people, getting used to the culture in the city. So I think it's really helpful to have those conversations currently while you're in the States about how often you would like to communicate with one another and what the communication plan would look like. So there's no wires crossed once you arrive on site and things get a little bit hectic, at least in the beginning. Also, banking and budgeting. Lisbon uses the euro as part of the Schengen zone and also of the financial sphere of Europe. Please notify your banks or whatever credit card companies that you will be traveling. A lot of companies have this on their website, or you can just call the number in the back of your card. Let them know exactly what country you're going to be in and when. This is also very helpful for the students when they are traveling outside of Lisbon to other countries. This will allow for to stop any fake fraud notifications that will then block your card since the bank was not aware that you were going to be, for example, in Italy, and then you use your card in Italy. So naturally, the bank will assume that it's not you. So in order to prevent any of those issues, please make sure that you notify your bank or any of your financial providers with that information. Please be aware of international transaction fees as well as the specific ATMs that you use. We will be having a city tour. We're going to point out the ATMs that we recommend. There are some ATMs, for example, Euronet, that are kind of overall in Europe that have a very unfair international transaction fee, as well as kind of a withdrawal fee that is ultimately unhelpful and not cost effective. So something to also keep in mind as well, both the conversion and also your specific banking provider's international transaction fee. Aside from that as well, communication is always very important. I think it's incredibly important right now to talk about budgeting expectations, saying how much money you will receive. It's going to be one lump sum. If it's going to be week by week basis, how will that money be transferred? How will that money be accessed? I think these are all great conversations to be having currently now before we reach on site to again avoid any sticky situations. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about now policies and expectations. So for example, there are kind of four main routes of policy expectations that the students will need to follow. First and foremost, obviously, they're going to have to follow all local Portuguese and Lisbon laws that are applicable to them during their time there. There is not much of a big difference, I would say, in terms of the more basic rules and laws and regulations, but if there's anything that seems to be pertinent for you to know, that will be gone over during our orientation time as well. Also, CAE has their own policies that you're made aware of through the My CAE portal that you will also have to adhere to and follow. That information can be found on your My CAE portal, and I highly recommend looking over that once more. To make sure that you're following everything that CAE follows, because CAE and Northeastern work in conjunction, a breaking of either of those conducts can result in the breaking of the conduct of the other. Lastly, you also will be under the policies of the university housing. So it's going to be short, Campo Pequenos, specific housing policies. Obviously, this is a much more micro policies in terms of furniture, moving of furniture, using of the fire alarms, using of kitchen utensils, using of spaces. So these are kind of the main factors or the main contributors that you need to be kind of aware of when it comes to following policy expectations. All of this information will be found either in the MyCAE portal or on our Canvas page. That's going to be accessed to you throughout the entirety of the semester, and it's going to be an amazing resource for you, both on-site and off-site, about what you need and any resources that might be pertinent to you.
Okay, so something else that we're going to have you or your student do while in orientation is download this Crisis 24 Horizon app. And this app will, once you have it downloaded, you can log in with your university ID, your Northeastern University email, and it will alert you. You will put in where you are, so you're in Portugal, Lisbon, or where you'll be traveling to. Let's say you go to London for the weekend on these dates. So you'd put, oh, I'm going to be in London here for these dates. And it would then give you any sort of alerts or things you needed to know that would be happening in London. For example, if there was a protest near Big Ben, it would say, please beware, there's a protest near Big Ben, so it might be an area for you to avoid. Or if there was an earthquake or something, boom, it would pop up that's saying, oh, please beware that there could be something happening in that area. So we're going to have all the students download it. It just is an app that has over 200 countries, over 800 cities, provinces, 400 cities, and it lets you know about health and safety issues that are happening in those different areas while you're traveling. So we're going to have all the students download it when they are on site, and it's just a way of them being alert while they're traveling. Okay, we also recommend that if you are traveling with prescriptions, that you have your original bottle and the prescription in your carry-on, as I mentioned before, on you. We try to recommend that you have a semester-long supply if you can, because we do not recommend shipping medications. It can get caught in customs or not arrive. So please try to have enough that will last you for the 90-ish days that you will be in Lisbon. Also, like as I mentioned before, you can use the Crisis 24 app as sort of a resource to help if you have any sort of medical issues. Something else we wanted to mention is that the students do have iNext insurance while abroad, which is a travel insurance. And how iNext works is if they do have any sort of medical issue, they can go to the hospital and they would they would have to pay out of pocket and be reimbursed depending on what the issue is. So they would have this iNext insurance as well. Make sure you understand any of the rules that you're traveling to, the country rules. And if you have any questions, please email my travel plans at northeastern.edu. Also, we recommend that you let someone that you trust know about your medical history. If you do have any sort of medical history that you would like to keep us informed about or keep someone informed about, so that if something does happen, they are aware and could let the appropriate people know if there is anything happening or going on with you. Okay, so some visa reminders. We want to say just sort of congratulations. You should be, some of you have your visa. Amazing if you do. Others are patiently waiting. We understand this is sort of the hardest part about this process while going abroad is waiting, going through the visa process, something that we don't really have control over, but we help guide you through. So if you are in the process, just make sure that you are going to be communicating with us. We actually sent you a visa survey already. So check your Northeastern emails because we've sent you a visa survey that we ask you to be completed by August 11th. So go in there and let us know if you have it or if you don't or what's happening so that we're aware of how you're doing with the visa process so we can best help you.
Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the group flight. So if you did end up registering and applying for the group flight, you will have to check your email for more information as that flight date gets closer and closer. Our site staff on site as well as CAE will be monitoring any delays to ensure that we will be able to be there as our students arrive with big welcome signs to say welcome to Lisbon and then take them to shore student housing. If you miss a connection or need to rebook, please contact the Advantage Travel. They're going to be your best point of contact in terms of making sure that you get to Lisbon in the quickest way possible. And then, as I said before, since we are going to be picking you up at the Lisbon airport by us and CAE staff, please wear some Northeastern gear colors just to make it very easy for us to pick you out of the crowd, just to make sure that everyone gets on the bus together before we head over to the student housing. So for independent travelers, so I know correspondence has been sent out before to independent travelers to see if they were interested in joining along with the group flight bus. If that is something that does not work with your schedule, with the flight plan that you have looked into, there are a myriad of ground transportation options that Lisbon does have to offer that we can get more information of as we get closer and closer to site. Always, if you are delayed, please contact us so we know exactly what time you're going to be arriving, so we could be there to support you in every step of the way. Please arrive at Shield Campo Pequeno from 9 a.m. on Sunday, September 14th to begin the check-in process. So if you have any other questions, of course, more information will be sent in through any future email correspondences. Also, we're going to talk a little bit very quickly about the winter 2026 transition. So as we're kind of ending our time in Lisbon, which I know it's crazy to think about since we haven't even got there, you will be receiving then a spring housing application that you'll fill out. Basically, this will be a way for you to kind of decide or help pick kind of what living situations you're looking for. If you have made connections in Lisbon, you want to continue those connections as roommates later on, that is the application to where you can do so. If you are a non-citizen and do require an F1 visa, please start looking into that now. As you're aware, the visa application process is lengthy for all countries. So please make sure that you have that information and getting started in that process as soon as possible, just to ensure an easy transition from Lisbon to the States come spring. Spring course registration also will be coming up at the end of our time in Lisbon. Your specific academic advisors will be reaching out to you through email to set up advising times and sort of talk about the next steps and your schedules. And that's also a great way to kind of see what you want your spring semester to look like. As well as that, you will also be enrolled in a specific Husky 101 orientation. Those specific dates and times are not yet known to us, but they will be sent over by email as well. And then also please check the academic calendar of 2026 if you have any questions in terms of dates or scheduling. So nothing to worry about right now, but just be aware that as we get closer to the spring, you'll be receiving more and more information about how to set yourself up for success once you arrive on the Boston campus. So here are some student action steps to pair it what Jean so lovely said. Please pack smart. You have 2 hands and a back. Please do not come in with 3 or 4 suitcases because that will make it kind of difficult to get through Lisbon's small streets, as Leonore spoke about before. Lisbon has an amazing secondhand and vintage market ecosystem. It's one of my favorite things about being in Lisbon, to be quite honest. So please also allow yourself some space in between for any extra clothing or knickknacks or souvenirs that you want to buy, just to avoid those kind of pesky overweight baggage fees. You have in communication with your academic advisor. I think you should reach out to them with any other further questions that you have, especially as we're getting closer and closer to departing, just to make sure that all your ducks are in the row once we get to Lisbon. Also, you will be having your own kitchenette. You will be responsible for cooking for yourself. So learning some very easy recipes, I would say, would be my go-to recommendation. How to, fry an egg, how to make some pasta, things of that nature. Obviously, Lisbon is an incredibly metropolitan city with so many restaurants, amazingly stocked supermarkets. So you're also able to find a lot of ready-made meals. You can eat out if you wish. But if you're trying to kind of level up on your cooking game, I would definitely recommend learning some recipes. Also, I would recommend keeping your eye on your inbox for important updates. That in general is just a good rule for life now as we're entering adulthood. Your email is going to kind of be your lifeline for a lot of these types of situations, especially for communications from Northeastern, as well as your professors once you get onto the Nova campus. So please make sure that you're getting into the habit of checking your email regularly. Lastly, if you do have any application tasks that are still yet to have been done in the CAE portal, I highly recommend getting that done as quickly as possible so that CAE has all the information necessary in order to make sure that you succeed once you get on site. And lastly, this is a little bit past due, but obviously if you still have work to do with the Canvas modules, I highly recommend getting those completed as well. As I mentioned a little bit about in our policy slide, this is information that will be relevant for the entirety of the semester, and this information you will have access to as well through that Canvas page. So actually it will be kind of your one-stop shop for any questions that you have both on site and for when you return back to Boston in spring. And now here are some kind of parent action steps or for the loved ones of our students here that are sending them off. One great thing is kind of discussing expectations that we talked about before, expectations around communication, around budgeting, around the phone plan that they want to use. Having that kind of cemented now, I feel is a lot more helpful than trying to get that done once you're kind of going through the hustle and bustle of getting yourself used to Lisbon. So I think having set expectations takes away a lot of unnecessary stress for either party. Also, just checking in with your student as well, reminding them of the inbox, of checking it every morning, or maybe 2 or 3 times a day, depending. And then lastly, as we talked about before, your students will not be receiving their class schedules until they arrive on site. So please just make sure that you do not book any travel plans before having that information, just due to the fact that, as we said before, travel plans or visiting family is not a valid excuse to be missing coursework. So we would not want you to arrive to Lisbon, make the long trip, and then have to spend half the day just waiting for your student to get out of class. So fall break is an amazing time to go. We had parents that came over in Thanksgiving for those for which Thanksgiving is very, very important. So I think just waiting a beat, I know there's a lot of planners in the crowd, but just waiting a beat until your student arrives on site would be kind of the best way to go in terms of planning next steps and future travel plans and visits. Okay, and then I'll pass it over then to Ryan, who will go over some general questions that were talked about in the chat during this presentation.
Great. Thanks, Christian. I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for submitting all your questions. We've been trying to answer them as they've been coming in. Some common questions we've been receiving are textbooks. So as an NU in Portugal student, you're required to purchase and bring your textbooks for the program. In terms of where you can find what textbooks you need for your classes, this can be found in the NU in Portugal Academic Handbook, which has been broadcasted to this webinar. But if you wanted to find it on our website, if you just go to the NUN Program Academics portion of our webpage, if you scroll down a little bit from the top of the page, you'll see that's where all of our handbooks for all of our NUN locations are, including NUN Portugal. So if you scroll through that handbook, you'll find the textbooks that are required for each of the classes. So just wanted to point that out for folks. We're getting a lot of questions about housing and what's included. On our NU in Portugal page, on our webpage, we have a specific housing section, which we hope goes into a lot of great detail regarding the amenities that are included in your housing, including linens, among other things. So please review our housing page for some of those intricate details. We're also getting great questions just about like, are there breaks during NU in Portugal? And I know Jean a little bit earlier went through some important dates, but in case you didn't catch it there are important dates are also captured on our website as well under the important dates section of the NU in Portugal webpage. So just wanted to point you in that direction. And yeah, I think those are the most common trends we've been getting right now. And if we weren't able to answer your question today, definitely feel free to email us at nun@northeastern.edu. It's likely myself or my colleague Raquel or Jean answering a lot of the questions going on behind the scenes. So thanks for your patience as we make sure you get all your questions answered. And I'll pass the mic back to Jean.
Okay, and then I think that we'll say, break out of the ordinary and enjoy your semester. This webinar is now going to come to a close. So it was wonderful having to tell you all this information again. Maybe some of you met us if you came to pre-departure orientation. If not, we will see you there on site in Portugal in just a short month-ish. So with that, we will say goodbye. Thank you, everyone.